On this episode of Lifeguard, the search for an adrenaline rush at Sunset Cliffs leads to an urgent 911 call.
Someone with sounds like a fractured ankle, Sunset Cliffs, and they're on the rocks.
And in Newport Beach,
Tunnel was caved in, so we jumped down and we heard screaming.
Calling party advised a teenager was digging a 6-foot trench in the sand. They're trying to dig him out at this time.
lifeguards race against the clock to find a boy buried alive in the sand.
62's on scene. We have multiple people digging in the sand.
They were digging. It just didn't seem like they were digging deep enough and time was running out.
I remember pretty vividly right when I saw his head and the paleness of his face that I didn't think he was alive.
The lifeguards of Southern California protect over 400 miles of coastline. And nothing impacts their day like the weather.
As lifeguards, a lot of us are amateur meteorologists.
Good weather brings a lot of excitement, a lot of action.
On these beaches, lifeguards are the first responders.
I have a 911 call of a distressed swimmer.
I like those exciting days where you don't really know what's going to happen.
Dispatch, a person injured on a vessel.
They are there to save you. They are there to lifeguard. Newport Beach is one of the most popular vacation spots in Southern California. Home to the Balboa Peninsula and the legendary surf spot, The Wedge. This typically sunny city is a destination for beachgoers worldwide.
Newport has some unique weather characteristics. It has, of course, the ocean offshore. Behind it, you have Newport Bay and the harbor there. So you get water on both sides of Newport Beach. With a little bit more water like that, it's going to make the air temperatures a little bit cooler.
When Newport exhibits these conditions, there's a tendency for people to stay out of the water. But just because they're out of the water doesn't mean they're out of danger. In the summer of 2011, 17-year-old Matt Mina flew out from Virginia to spend time with his cousins in beautiful Newport Beach.
Well, that day at the beach, the water was too cold, so me and Matt decided to start digging a hole.
For 3 hours, the boys continued to dig. After reaching a depth of 7 feet, they began tunneling.
10 minutes later, I kind of got over it, and he kept digging, and we were just hanging out next to the hole. And we called him out, and hey, Matt, come out, let's play football or something. And we looked down, and the tunnel was caved in, so we jumped down, and we heard screaming.
The tunnel caved in around Matt, and the hole filled. Within seconds, he was trapped in a 10,000-pound sand avalanche.
My brother and my cousin's boyfriend jumped down and started digging while I rushed and sprinted to the lifeguard tower asking for shovels and help.
The Newport lifeguard at Tower 52 sent out the Mayday call, Code 3.
When Matt's cousin told me that he was stuck in the sand, my training kind of took over. So I knew to call it in right away and then just run down and start digging, enlist people around to start helping out and dig until we could get more resources on the scene.
Newport Battalion 6 and responding units. Calling party advised a teenager was digging a 6-foot trench in the sand. They're trying to dig him out at this time.
Captain Brian O'Rourke was on a Newport Beach lifeguard boat when the call came in.
I heard that there's a possible sand collapse, somebody buried in the sand. So I jumped off the boat and swam in. I got right into the hole, and Matt's family members, they were screaming, and they're going right about there. And we just started digging, trying to just get some sand. Hopefully we could find them within seconds.
Lifeguards and the rest of the fire department worked as a team to take control of the operation, while Matt's cousins watched helplessly from the sidelines.
Who he is? Yeah, I know who he is. Do you know like his first name, last name?
After all the fire department cleared everyone out, and when they were digging, it just didn't seem like they were digging deep enough and time was running out.
Units from all over the city respond in massive numbers.
62's on scene. We have multiple people digging in the sand.
Trapped without oxygen, the clock begins ticking on Matt Mina. Matt has between 4 and 6 minutes before the risk of serious brain damage.
The day that Matt was buried under the sand, I was what they call the incident commander, or the IC, in charge of the overall operation. So my job is essentially to show up and try and make some organization to the chaos that's already happening.
So this time we'll need additional manpower to assist with digging.
Word of the collapse spreads, sending the beach into a panic. And police are called for crowd control, while more search and rescue teams respond to the beach. Lifeguard Alex Skur arrives 12 minutes after the initial call.
When we arrived at the incident, there was quite a few people in a big circle surrounding the event.
Listen up! Get behind the emergency vehicle! Now!
Went and reported to the incident commander, and he told me to go find Captain O'Rourke and start digging.
Removing the sand posed an immense problem to the rescue effort. With every handful they scooped out, another slid back in. They had to dig outward before they continued downward. 15 minutes in, and Matt was still 4 feet underground.
Based on that, I had to start formulating a plan of what we were going to do and how many resources we were going to need to take care of that. I put one of the captains in charge of just the diggers inside of the hole.
I'm gonna ask everybody to take 5 steps back.
And I had another captain in charge of the perimeter.
Rescue workers teamed with bystanders to create concentric circles of diggers around the point last seen. But even with all the manpower and organization, progress was painfully slow.
After the first 20 minutes when the fire department was digging, I couldn't comprehend it, but I thought he was for sure dead.
Hey, you guys gotta jump back to where the sand's wet.
A lot of chaos going on, a lot of people panicking, and then we had more resources come in. We just kept digging and digging, but it was frustrating because every time we made a lot of progress digging the hole, it just kept caving in around us. In the back of your mind, it didn't seem like there was gonna be a good outcome in the situation.
Keeping the sand out of the hole proved to be a massive undertaking. Rescuers were forced to widen the opening by 20 feet across, or risk a chance of a second collapse. This extra step took time, something Matt did not have.
In our business, we have what we call an incident clock, and our dispatch center will tell us when we've been on scene for 15 minutes. So in this case, and that starts triggering more alarms in our head. Everybody knows that the human brain can only sustain about 4 to 6 minutes without oxygen.
It had been 20 minutes since the sand collapsed on Matt. The crowd of spectators continued to grow.
And I was starting to become very concerned that this operation was going on for so long that Matt wasn't alive down there. And then I have to start then taking a look at what we're going to do with all these people that are on the beach, all these rescuers that are in the hole, the news helicopters above us. It was just this humongous operation with hundreds of people watching. And if we pull this teenager out that isn't alive, now there's the psychological trauma of everybody else that happens to be at the beach that day.
25 minutes in, people began preparing for the worst, but lifeguards in the hole continued their frantic digging.
I was exhausted, digging sand that weighs, so heavy digging out, but it was also like an adrenaline that you don't feel every day.
None of us, nobody on that beach was, giving up until we found them.
These firefighters and these lifeguards and even the citizens, I couldn't have pulled them out of that hole with a taser gun. They were in there, and they were going to stay in there.
For over 30 minutes, rescuers worked at a feverish pace before seeing any sign of Matt.
I remember pretty vividly right when I saw his head and the paleness of his face that I didn't think he was alive.
Back up if you're not a firefighter or lifeguard. Back up.
Didn't hear if he was breathing or not, or out of all the screaming and the crowd, my head just went deaf.
Guys, start backing up. Let's go. Back up.
The first time I saw his face, he was just unconscious. And he just sandy, pale.
Easy, guys, easy. Whoa, 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 whoa. Relax, relax.
That's when I heard him breathe. More like he's breathing. And then all of a sudden I heard him groan, and I'm like, wow, he's gonna actually make it. And there was just cheers from hundreds of people on the beach.
Matt Mina had been lying unconscious under 7 feet of sand for nearly 35 minutes before rescue workers unearthed him.
Matt, for all intents and purposes, and I don't want to be overly blunt, but Matt should not have survived that. 7 feet down, all that weight, all that pressure, and lack of oxygen for over 30 minutes, that's unsustainable for human life. For me personally, in 17 years in the fire business, this is definitely one of the most miraculous rescues I've ever come across.
RT-27, you know, victim is out of the hole.
Newport off, copy.
90 miles south of Newport is San Diego.
Lifeguards from San Diego responding 3141 Oceanfront Walk.
This city is home to 70 miles of diverse coastline. From beautiful sandy beaches to picturesque cliffs, San Diego has it all. Just south of Ocean Beach is Sunset Cliffs. Here, there are no traditional lifeguard towers. So veteran lifeguard Sergeant Rick Strobel must make routine patrols of this dangerous but popular surf spot.
We're in an area called Sunset Cliffs. That's a very popular area. A lot of the younger kids like to come down here and jump off into the water. Between the jumping accidents and the surfing rescues, we get so much call activity that we've actually placed a call box right over here. That's a direct line to our dispatch tower. So when we do get the call, we're ready for them. It's a pretty big set coming through.
Sergeant Strobel prepares to move on with his patrol. But then he notices a set of unusually large waves heading toward a small group of picture takers. As the wave sweeps the young girl off her feet, Strobel races to the rescue. Luckily, instead of being swept into the ocean, he finds her soaked, safe, and happy to be alive.
Hey, you guys got to stay up here where it's dry, okay?
Just taking some pictures of some friends screwing around and sitting up. Saw a wave coming, didn't think it was going to be so high, and it just shot right up, knocked me down.
Yeah, so as the tide goes out, that might happen a little bit more.
Don't people jump from here all the time?
Yeah, it's not a good idea. It's not safe. Yeah, it's illegal and it's unsafe. All right, you guys just stay up here where it's dry, okay?
Okay.
Sergeant Strobel's warnings about cliff jumping are serious. It's a highly illegal activity, but with no permanent lifeguard towers at the cliffs, they must rely on posted signs and people's common sense. But when the summer sun is scorching and the water temperatures are cool, common sense becomes an afterthought.
I saw a lot of guys jumping off the cliffs over here. People come here to have fun, but they don't respect the fact that this is a dangerous spot. The guy came down, did a hesitation before he went. He wasn't all with it. Went in a low spot, hit something, came up, and that was it, you know.
Dispatch to 1 Sam, OB, for 911.
Lifeguard Dispatch has received an emergency call from Sunset Cliffs.
1 Sam.
Someone with sounds like a fractured ankle, Sunset Cliffs, and they're on the rocks.
Copy that. We're considered as a cliff response. Q Sam, code 3.
Cliff rescues are complex, and lifeguards never know what they need until they get on scene. They dispatch Jet 1 for a water approach and a specialized cliff rescue vehicle with a long crane arm.
22-year-old male, fractured left ankle. Medics are rendering aid now.
Jet 1 at the victim. It's going to be at the arch on the first step, about 5 feet off the water.
The victim has been pulled out of the water, but is still in a precarious position. Lonnie Stevens is the first lifeguard on scene.
When we arrived on scene, the victim was in a fair amount of pain. He had no other injuries. He was down a ledge, just out of the water.
Maybe talk to IC. Let him know we do have a lot of slippery slope right here.
Incident Commander Sergeant David Rains surveys the situation.
I don't think we can get the stretcher up high enough to grab him and pull him on up.
The angle of the cliffs and the slickness of the rocks make a standard extraction impossible. Adding to the concern, the tide is rising. Soon, the ledge they're on will be underwater.
Set up the low angle rescue, so come up head first.
Sergeant Rick Strobel arrives on scene to assist Rains in this complicated extraction.
In the San Diego Lifeguard Service, when there's a cliff rescue, depending on where it is, there is a cliff response. What we want to do is get at least 7 people to a cliff rescue to help with all the different jobs that have to take place. We're going to send the stretcher up head first. So your personnel down there will sort of be lifting it as we're just pulling it. So we need some help there.
22, if they want to bring down the morphine, we could do the morphine from here if it's going to be a fairly long extrication.
The 23-year-old male is in extreme pain. Sergeant Strobel and his team jump into action.
Patient care is our primary concern, and paramedics were able to just stabilize the patient, give him some morphine for the pain, and assist us and package him in the stretcher.
By the way, just to give you a heads up, we got the tide coming up really fast.
As the victim is strapped into the stretcher below, lifeguards on top of the cliff rig up a pulley system and begin planning.
These two guys are going to be attached to help lift this thing on up. Everybody from down below is going to give a lift. These guys are here to get the stretcher when it comes up over the edge. Jacob is going to monitor the belay. All of us are going to pull on this line and just get him up over the edge.
We make a lot of coastal cliff rescues here in the city of San Diego. Lifeguards annually make over 40 coastal cliff rescues. Try to get this close to this one lip right here.
With slippery green moss covering the rocks, the lifeguards will have to shift the victim before attempting the extraction.
Hey, next week, just go up to this one lip. Next one, right? You're going to haul about 2 feet.
1, 2 feet.
Right there.
1, 2.
Lifeguards, firefighters, and paramedics haul the victim up the cliff face with extreme caution. Any aggressive movement could further damage his ankle.
Got him.
Nice work, nicely done.
With the victim off the rocks, lifeguards rush him to the waiting ambulance.
People come here to have fun, but they don't, respect the fact that, there's signs everywhere, Stay back, watch out, because it might just be you,
There are signs that are clearly posted in the area, and those signs there are to help people prevent themselves from getting hurt, but people don't pay attention to the signs and they jump anyway. Sometimes it results in injury.
This is Ocean Beach, San Diego. The primary landmark? Ocean Beach Pier. When the weather is good, thousands of people come out to surf and swim in the warm water, keeping the lifeguards incredibly busy. But sometimes saving lives has nothing to do with jumping into the water.
Okay, we had a homeless individual and his friend brought him down to the water to try and kind of basically take a bath. He went in with all his clothes on, and then some people were concerned. People normally don't swim with their clothes on, right?
Right.
So
I'm a recon ranger.
Okay.
I'm sitting here watching.
Okay, I just want to let you know our concern here. If he doesn't have any medical concerns right now, then we're okay with that. But we can't have him swimming right now. He seems like maybe he's had something to drink. I don't know.
He probably has. That's why I'm sitting here watching.
Drinking and swimming is, definitely one of the things that is very dangerous here. I'm concerned for your safety as you get back in the water, okay?
I had to get in the water. I had to.
So can you tell me you're not going to get in the water today?
Yes, sir, I will tell you.
Okay, that's our concern here, okay?
Lifeguard Sergeant Ed Harris arrives on the scene to help.
Didn't smell very good. He said that he wants to get in the water later. He's not getting back in the water today. I don't know.
We can't have you swimming out here when you've been drinking. What kind is it?
It's vodka.
Vodka?
Yeah.
Don't pour that.
Can't have alcohol on the beach, guys. Okay, do you have any more in your bag? Go ahead and leave the beach.
The one gentleman that was in the water, I don't think he left with any bad feelings towards us. He said, that he appreciated us. The other gentleman had his drink poured out by my supervisor, and I don't think he appreciated that at all.
It's up us, yep.
Back up if you're not a firefighter or lifeguard.
In the summer of 2011, 17-year-old Matt Mina dug a 7-foot hole in the sand before it collapsed on top of him. Frantically, rescuers dug for an exhausting 35 minutes before reaching it. And to the surprise of everyone, they found Matt alive.
Matt got lucky. They moved his head back and forth and created an air pocket, and that bought him some time. And obviously, if anybody takes anything out of this whole digging situation, just, have fun, build sand castles, enjoy the beach, but just do not dig these things deeper than mid-shins or your kneecaps. This is not just anything that should be taken lightly. I mean, it definitely could kill you, and Matt got lucky that he's alive today.
6 weeks later, Matt returns to Newport with his mother, Melissa, his father, Manuel, and his sister, Megan. Eternally grateful, the family finally gets an opportunity to meet Matt's rescuers face to face.
Hi, I'm Brian O'Rourke. Hey, Matt, how's it going? No shakes. Hey.
Thank you.
Hey, no problem.
Excited to see Matt return to the beach, first responders gather for a chance to meet the thankful family.
I'm happy for Matt and his family. This was a miraculous rescue. The people here in Orange County have very good emergency response systems, and it all came together that day.
From the bottom of my heart, man, thank you very much.
News of Matt's return brings more rescuers back to headquarters. And soon his mother, Melissa, finds herself overcome with gratitude.
Being a parent, it changes you. You realize how precious life is. We're so happy and grateful that we were given this opportunity to be here today, to be able to personally come and thank everybody that helped save him.
When was the first time you realized that you got pulled out of the hole and that happened to you?
Probably when I first sat up, like, saw all these people, and it started to register that I'm alive, but I just got buried.
So we were very fortunate the way everything played out that day.
The adrenaline that you get doing this job, lifeguarding, is something that is a feeling that most people don't get to feel.
Her mother is just digging and moving massive amounts of sand, and those are the people I'd love to just be able to thank too, you know.
Everybody gave their full effort into that and did not stop, and we're not going to quit the whole time. So yeah, it was awesome.
We thank everybody because he's a pretty special kid.
And when I was down there, my life just kind of flashed before me, you know, all the good times, bad times, you know, it's people you care for. It's every single person out there helping to dig. Everybody from fire and rescue, the police, to lifeguards especially. I couldn't thank them more, you know? So I don't think I'd be alive if there wasn't for lifeguards today.